we don't change, that we are permanent. This feeling of I or me is permanent. That's why if somebody insulted you yesterday, still today, you wouldn't go and sit next to the person in the tea break. And sometimes it's as ridiculous as something, somebody who insulted you 20 years ago, you're still angry with that person now. You have changed, the other person has changed. Not one cell in your body is the same. Yeah? The mind changes constantly. But this feeling of me, I, that got insulted, that does not change. Another good example is you look at the group photograph of kindergarten or preschool or something like that, and then somebody says, are you there? And you say, yeah, this is me. We don't say this was me. And for that moment, when we look, the feeling of I in the kindergarten and the feeling of I now, almost 70 years old, is still the same. Then we start to question these kind of the feelings. It seems like that. It seems very much like that. So then we start to question, how can that be? I was 5 years old then, now I'm 70. So how can that be? But I, me, still the same. Your I that came here yesterday, for the ones who were here yesterday, you feel different? No, I know, I'm not pointing to you.
Yeah, I do feel different, for sure.
Huh?
Yeah, I do feel different.
The I, not you. The I. Me.
It's hard
Yeah,
to
it seems as if we feel the difference, but we don't. This comes when we start to observe it. In the morning when you look in the mirror, is this the same person? Of course it's the same person. We would go spontaneously. Yeah? Like every morning you can do that exercise. Yeah? Then we would see body changes, mind changes. But that thing that seems to possess body and mind, that thing seems to be the same. And for that, as I said, you need some instructions, or like these, what we're just talking about, and then you need to observe. Because up here, it says, of course I change. But you don't. Yeah? We identify with what happened in the past, totally. We kind of take this with us because of that seemingly existing I from its own side. Okay? So this is the part of emptiness. This is the part of like, the illusion there is that we are permanent. The illusion there is that we're independent. You know, how many times in the morning you get up, you look in the mirror and you think, oh, thank you, Mom and Dad, for giving me this body. How many times? Never. Where does the body come from? My body. Excuse me, can your eye produce a body? If yes, in what way? Gosh, you'd be world famous if you can prove that this is possible. Yeah? Even if you're cloned, you need scientists and somebody else before that got cloned. Yeah? Do you see what I mean? But it feels this is, of course, is my body. So when your mom wants you to clean the windows, you say, my body is not going to clean your windows. It's your mom's body, actually. She gave it to you. And your dad. Yeah? Do you see what I mean? But we have this very strong feeling of my body. My parents' body? No, oh, thank you very much. It's not them. But it's a gift. They gave us this. If they wouldn't exist, we would not exist. Again, this other feeling of being independent. Yeah? Person is not here anymore. Yesterday was saying that she was so independent. We're not independent, especially for the body. Without parents, no body. Without their parents, also no body. Without their parents. You see, where, you know, this whole line, which is the continuity of somebody. But we feel very individual. We feel very me, I, very solid. So this is what we're trying to think. So that is ultimate bodhicitta. Thinking about things do not appear, things do not exist the way that they appear. Yeah? This is talking about emptiness. Because if you don't think about that part, and you start to develop compassion, you totally burn out. Then the whole thing becomes really kind of too much. But you need to know this whole thing about emptiness, like suffering again. Suffering is designated. If you're a masochist, you pay money to be beaten. Have you heard about these people? If you are not a masochist, what the masochist labels pleasure, somebody else labels it abuse. So also, it doesn't exist from its own side. Depends what you label it. This is very difficult. This is a tough one, but it's kind of think about it. So that doesn't mean we should go around abusing or beating people. If I said, oh, it's just designated. Label it pleasure, then it will become pleasure. It's not like this. Or if you have been treated in a bad way, then you tell yourself, oh, I just label it pleasure, it becomes pleasure. No, it won't. First you need to understand emptiness before all this starts to change. So then to support that whole thing about emptiness, we think about the conventional reality and we start to develop compassion. Because we have two enemies, only two. Your mother-in-law and the Prime Minister. No, we have two enemies. One is believing in such an I, so that these enemies are attitudes, views that make us suffer. Okay? An enemy is something that makes us suffer. But it's nobody outside. It is the view that this I that appears is real. And then holding it for real, grasping at it. Fata Morgana is a good example. If you don't know that this is just an appearance and you're thirsty, you run. You go for it. If you're lost in the desert and you see a Fata Morgana and you don't have water with you, you would run towards that appearance. Yeah? But because you know it's just an appearance, you don't run towards it. So it appears, the appearance is not the problem. That this I appears as totally real, that is not the problem. But holding it for real, this is the problem. Holding something for really good is the problem. Holding something for really bad is the problem. So this I appears, then grasping or holding it for real, that is the enemy. So talking about it doesn't exist the way that it appears, that loosens that grasp and that hold. Yeah? So then it becomes more a little bit us than just me and them. The same way, when you have children, you might have been a very, very self-concerned person at the beginning. Only me, I. The moment you have a child, you include that child into your me, I, like the concern for the child's happiness. It comes very naturally. So we can do it. We can include other people into our care and concern and thinking about them and wishing them well. We can. If we label these beings mine, my children, my grandchildren, my friends, my this and my that. So one starts to expand this whole thing. Not listening so much to this one labels, oh, I like her, she's nice, therefore she's nice to me, therefore I like her. You start to expand that concern for others. Also, whenever we do a negative action, the self-cherishing or this grasping at me, I, because I want or I don't want, is behind it. Yeah? If we do unethical behavior, it's because I want something or I don't want something. We think it benefits us. This I is so stupid that it doesn't think about long-term consequences. It only thinks about short-term stuff. I want to be happy now, so it can't really bear hardships. Yeah? And also then it does, it does unethical actions, and then not thinking about how will it make me feel later, or how does the other person feel. When we're totally in this I, everybody else is excluded. Whatever happens to them, I don't care. as long as nothing happens to me. Yeah? So this comes from this belief that this I really exists and I have to make it happen, no matter what. The other enemy that we have is to hold it for the most dear thing in this world. I'm the most important person in this world. And so other people get excluded, they come second. Yeah? So by generating relative bodhicitta, we harm that thought, that I'm the center of the universe. So we train. We train to be more open. We train to be giving. And as we started to do yesterday, so this is how far we got, and we did with the breath, this kind of, with ourselves, to take difficulties in, right, with the thought, I'm open to whatever comes, and to breathe out whatever good we have, or breathe out care, love, concern, support, relief. So that this technique, this method, which this text is all about, this harms these two enemies quite a bit, because you need to be quite courageous in order to destroy your self-cherishing. So yesterday we didn't do it with the ego in the heart. We put our natural goodness into the heart to transform it, so it's less threatening. But the way you do it is like you visualize this I or me as separate in your heart, and when you breathe in with difficulties, then it kind of destroys it. Because you have the courage to know, or the wisdom to know, it appears, but it does not exist. So if you have something that your mind produces, like an illusion, some people see phantoms. So you can shoot as much as you want onto this phantom, it will not disappear, because the mind is producing it. So when you know that this I is just produced by the mind, and actually you do this with a lot of self-concern, so you're not destroying yourself. When we think that it destroys the thought of self-centeredness. It destroys the view that it's good to be self-centered. I don't need to care about anybody else. This is what it destroys, and it definitely destroys the view of that this I really exists. So you need the view of emptiness when you do this practice. Otherwise it's too threatening, otherwise you really destroy yourself. And then the I, instead of diminishing, it starts to grow, because you feel very unhappy. Yeah. Also, by the way, this practice, what Tong Leng is for, what the practice is for, it is not to feel happy. Some people say, oh yeah, I do it, but it doesn't work. So I say, well, what do you mean it doesn't work? Well, I felt terrible afterwards. I say, great, it worked. You took the problems of others. So why should you feel good about this? Yeah. So whatever result comes, it doesn't really matter. But the purpose of this practice is to open up, to become more courageous, to become more spacious in your heart, and not to close up every time and tense up every time a little problem comes or a big problem comes. And then to react to daily situations from a space of spaciousness and light and wisdom and courage, and not from a space of fear. That is what the practice is for. So when you breathe in, you think, I'm breathing in all the problems, all the difficulties, whatever. Or kind of, you can also think, when you breathe in, bad. Okay. Everything I don't want, I take now. When you breathe out concern, love, compassion, relief, support. Our resources that we have that are inexhaustible, by the way. You see, our love is exhaustible. Why? Because the I comes and says, are you crazy just giving? I also need something. And then we get exhausted when we start to lock up and when the space is gone. Just imagine when you're happy. In what state are you? I'm sure you've experienced moments of there was no real reason to be happy in a way. And happy is not a good word. Spacious is a good word. Peaceful is a good word. Calm is a good word. Light is a good word for that state. Do you know what I'm talking about? Content is another good word. For me, spacious, that is the word. It's like lots of space. Nothing is disturbing, even small things, because there's so much space. The small things are not important because there's so much space. Have you had moments like this? Are they pleasant or not so pleasant? They're very pleasant. Now, Buddhism says that is your nature. We could feel like this all the time. And with this state of mind, you're not just sitting there and clonking out and saying, wow, I'm so spatial. And just being frozen in your space. When somebody comes who needs help, you, in a very natural way, you get up and you give that help. Because then your natural love and compassion is there. And it starts to operate. So, but it's covered by fear. I will burn out. I will not get what I want. People will, what is usually the kind of fear when we decide to become a really kind person to whomever comes. Because that's the other thing that you develop. You're going to be kind to everybody. Whether they're kind to you, not kind to you, nasty, whatever. You're going to have to train the mind that everybody deserves to be happy. And you know, you will kind of practice thoughts in the morning or in the evening, especially in the morning when you go out of the house. May everybody who sees me, hears me, touches me, thinks about me, may it only be of benefit to them. Meaning, may it lead them to happiness. So your purpose is actually, by existing, to make others happy, even just by seeing you. So maybe if you have that thought, at one point you will become somebody really famous. Like Sophia Loren. You still know her? How many people don't know her? She won't know her. Yeah. See, she will get forgotten. Even Sophia Loren will get forgotten at one point. So I met her twice. I mean, I was there. I was in her presence. So she has the fame, like the designation. She has the fame. She is stunningly beautiful. But if it would have been just anybody in that restaurant that we also were, I mean, I was working there. I was in Cannes. That's also so funny. The designation. You know, Cannes in France, southern France, they have film festival. Probably the most famous one. So everybody who looks more or less kind of like somebody, people start, you know, in a restaurant, people start to whisper like. So the boss I had, she was really stunning, beautiful also, but she was nobody. She was not famous. So we were in a restaurant, her husband, and her, and me, and then the waiter came to say, oh, wow, I really like your film yesterday. The way she was so nice. I said, oh, wow, thank you very much. People started to whisper this and that. She had no clue who she was supposed to be. So her husband said, let's go before people come and ask for a signature. Because you don't know, he said, do you know whom you're supposed to be? She said, no, it's nice. People think I'm famous. The designation. But with her, because I was sure it's Sophia Loren, like, wow, I had this feeling of, again, me. I wonder if she sees me. It's not here. It's kind of, you need to be recognized by her. Your eyes, it's not enough just to see her. She also needs to see you. Yeah? So maybe when you see, you know, you become, you're happy. You're happy to be in the presence of these people. So this must be people who made that wish. Whoever sees me, may it make them happy. May it be a benefit to them. Yeah? Have you ever been in the presence of somebody really famous? Huh? Okay. Somebody else? Like, but in the presence, like you've been quite present. Ruti has been quite present. Me, I've been, you know, the big crowd. So, but still, I'm happy in the big crowd because I also needed to understand. He doesn't have to see me. I have to see him. So in order to relax, because there's this kind of not just with His Holiness, with everybody who's famous. They need bodyguards. Why? Because otherwise they get crushed to death. Because this I needs to go there. He or she needs to see me. Who else has been in the presence of somebody famous? Did it make you feel different or no? Like in my presence or in my presence also, you know. At one point I was in the supermarket in Tel Aviv and I was looking for, I didn't know, was it shampoo, is it shower stuff, is it this, looking at all the things. So somebody comes and says, what are you doing here? This is how Israelis talk. In Switzerland he would have turned around maybe 50 times before he would have dared to say, hello, may I ask you a question? Are you a nun? And he was like, what are you doing here? So I said, well, I'm here and I'm doing, you know. But you're a Tibetan? I said, yeah. So, but what are you doing here? So I said, well, I get invited, I give courses. Who are you? I say, Anilita. And he said, oh, wow, you're Anilita. So I became somebody totally different. Would you like to come to my house and have dinner with us? I heard so much about you and blah, 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 and this and that. And that. Before I was a stupid nun who didn't know what to buy. And then all of a sudden I was somebody famous. So where is the fame coming from? Where's the fame coming from? From your mind. But I also feel this thing, you know, Richard Gere, at one point he stepped on my knee. He was lucky to be Richard Gere, I tell you, because I said, oh, it's okay. He said, oh, I'm really sorry. I said, it's okay, it's okay. If it would have been somebody at this time, wow, can't you pay attention? If it would have been the Dalai Lama, wow, I would have kind of not washed the knee for a So this whole thing is kind of seeing that I make this thing, this one is worthy to be happy, and this one is not. So when we think that we just want to be kind and want to give and we want to benefit all sentient beings, it doesn't mean everybody at the same time. Not even the Dalai Lama can do that. But it means like without discrimination. Like I'm happy, I'm kind to him, but not to him. And sometimes, yeah, we have to make decisions. I'm more kind now to Dawn than to Ori. Or, you know, I just take these two people because I know their names. Also, I hope they're not taking it personally, you know. So, because when it's new people and I do these things, they take it personal and think, oh, what does she think of me? Why is she saying that? So it's just examples, okay? So why do I discriminate? Because maybe she needs more care than Ori, for example, or the other way around. So that would be the reasoning why one gives more care this one and not care that one. Not because they're my friends or because they're nice to me. Yeah? But for example, if you go out to buy presents for your friends, anyway already have everything. And then you have to go from shop to shop to shop until you finally found something that they would like. Now, living in India, it was quite easy. Like I always would bring things that you can't buy in Switzerland or here in Israel. But now it's like I exhausted all the things that can't be bought here. So now I don't bring these presents anymore. So I don't know what to bring. I bring Swiss chocolate. That's very good because you eat it and then it's gone. But all these souvenirs, everything, shawls and handmade diaries and then the little tamkas and all this. So I've exhausted these resources. So I don't know what to bring anymore. So I stopped. But it's like kind of, do you see what we do sometimes when we try to find presents for a friend? When I would go back to India from Europe, it was very easy. You can bring whatever. They're happy with whatever you give them. It doesn't have to be something exclusive. Here in Europe, it needs to be something exclusive. So then I tried to find a Swiss chocolate that you can't find here in Israel. So I'm not bringing Lind. Also not so happy with their policy. So I tried to bring fair trade, organic, vegan, the whole thing. Then it becomes exclusive. When I run out and still have something to give, then I need to go to Sugar Camel and buy exported, but it doesn't really work because it says in Hebrew. If you're clever, You know, oh, she didn't bring it from Switzerland. She bought it in Schuka. This is how it is. But it's the same chocolate. So. But no, the one I bring, you can't buy it. So, like this. What is our fear of being kind? Why do we have, you know, we would like to be, would you like to be kind? So, kind, concerned, caring, compassionate, yes or no? Yes. Oh, some people are looking at me. Skeptical look. But this is teachings how to be kind and how to better be kind. Yeah. Would you like to be kind? Yes or no? Yes.
Yes, I think the fear is that it's like we are offering other people, we always take the advantage.
Exactly. That's exactly it. We feel like friars afterwards, isn't it? And that's bad. You know, people take advantage of us. They're not giving anything back. So by being compassionate, being caring, if you think like that, you become like a business person. I invest. I invest my time. I invest my kindness. And I invest my possessions. There, if you're not giving me back. So that's kind of not so pure, is it? Yeah, so this is where the fear comes from. So if you just want to be kind, you're happy with whoever lets you be kind to you. It's a big step from this self-concerned kindness and this, you know, letting go of the fear that we're going to be exploited. Yeah. If you see, we have so much to give. We have so much kindness to give. Can you imagine if nobody wants it, how you would feel? That would be terrible. And there are people like this on this planet, human beings, that nobody allows them to be kind to them because they're homeless and they stink and their mind is like, you know, they're dangerous or aggressive or whatever. Can you imagine how they feel? Nobody allows. Imagine your life. Nobody allows you to help them. Nobody wants you near them. Nobody allows you to have a connection with them. Can you imagine how your life would be? Terrible. Yeah. So we kind of choose, you know, we say, oh, this one is pretty safe, this one probably something comes back. Unfortunately, it's not here. If it would be conscious thoughts, I think we would start to feel ashamed about these thoughts, and we say, oh, this is ridiculous. Let go. Somebody needs your help, you can give it, just give it. I'm not talking about big things. We're always waiting for big things to come. I'm talking about small things. Opening the door for somebody who has bags in their hands. Letting somebody go first on the bus or on the train. Smiling at somebody. Or a waitress who is totally stressed. Help her. You know, make a decision what you want to order. You have the menu, then you go blah, 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 blah. She comes, he wants to take the order, and then you start looking. Yeah? You're waiting to be served. Be ready when they come. And then also try not to be too complicated about your coffee. You know? Gosh. You know, one waitress or one waiter, 5 people. 5 different messages. A lot of milk, not much milk, soy milk, cow milk, not too hot, very hot, short, long, medium. And she needs to she needs to convey that to somebody else who is actually making it. She's not even making it. So she needs to give you a message exactly the same way that you gave it to her, to the barista. And then he has to make the coffee, and she has to bring it. And remember who wanted this milk, who wanted that milk. So it's coffee. And then there, if she gives you the cow milk because you're vegan, oh, you know, one sip, it's cow milk. Yeah, it's cow milk. If you would be, you know, you drank your mother's milk, that's not vegan, and you survived. I'm not making publicity for cancer, okay? I'm just saying, try not to be too stiff on what you're doing there. If you do it, if you're totally vegan, I respect it, it's fine. But just do it and finish. There's no need to kind of go transform the whole world. It's okay, it's great if you can be vegan, fantastic. Or vegetarian or whatever. But again, you know, I'm talking, it goes a bit off, but I need to say that. I'm just trying to see how kind of stiff we are in my views, my coffee, my this, my that. Not thinking about the waitress at all. So when the kindness comes in, you know